Hey everyone, this video I have two videos in one. I'm going to talk about my AKG mic I use and then the video camera that I'm using to record this. So the first part is going to be my AKG and the second part is going to be the MOKOSE HDMI camera. So this is my second review of the AKG, and I finally got it to work on my computer. So this has been my main mic for years now, but my first review wasn't that kind. But it's a great mic, really silent. I don't think I could get a better mic. So real quickly, they have a bass cut switch on here and a 20 decibel cut switch right here, right on the unit. Really nice. Like I said, even at the side, it picks it up pretty well, and it's really, once you get talking, it's pretty silent. I think even if there's nothing going on, it's pretty silent. So it just hooks up to standard USB, and like I said, it's the best mic I've had. So ignore the first review because I couldn't get the drivers to work. Initially, I think for 6 months I tried to get the drivers to work. Finally they took, and I saved a restore point, and that was able to kind of get it so it worked from then on. So top notch. You can get these. I still think they sell these. The company doesn't sell them, but there's some, like I saw $50 on eBay, and then some other places that still have these. So I really recommend these. It's out of date now, and what do they call it? Discontinued, but you can still find some out there. Okay, the second part is going to talk about the camera I'm using, and it's the MOKOSE HDMI camera. It's a 1080p camera, but I scale it down to 720p. That's kind of the dimensions I like to use for these videos. So I had to basically the dimensions. Let me see if I can get this right. The dimensions all the way across here are 720p. I scaled that down. I got a scaler, and for the details I'll put the video in the corner. It's a lot more detail of how this setup works. I need a capture card and a scaler, and it goes all through that. But I had to do real quickly to get this to work. I had to crop the ends here a little bit, and then had to do some like kind of zooming in just a little bit so there wasn't like a black border on the top and sides. But otherwise, this is a 1080p signal going through a scaler down to 720p, and it uses the Y, PB, and PR connection. So it's not straight to HDMI. HDMI goes into the, like I said, the Y, PB, and PR RCA, and through the scaler. So this is at 60 frames a second, and I've seen, since this is a raw image, I've seen a little bit of artifacts or a little bit of lag time, and I'm using an i3 HP 5150 i3. So I would say that would be your minimum, because if I see a little bit of artifacts, you might need like an i5 or something higher. But so far it works pretty well. That's basically what I wanted this video to kind of showcase, is the quality. When I had the 1080p here, when I would do this, you could see it looked like interlaced frames. But since I had scaled this up, or used the 1080p, and then you use the software to scale it down, that's where you get a real blocky look. So that's another thing I didn't put on the video, about the when you scale it down, the scaler works fine because it doesn't use the software to do it, so you don't get this blocky look. Maybe in another video I will do the 1080p version. Of course, that'll have to be a smaller video, or in size, because that's pretty hefty dimensions there for my software. So I think I touched on everything. Oh, there, I forgot to rescale the video. I had to do that on the fly. Since I couldn't get a de-interlacer on, I just scaled down the video, and I forgot to scale the little part there. So let me go back to the original here. So I did change like the quality. I probably should change the they've got settings in the camera here to where you can see the quality. That's the only word I can get for it. I forget what they call it on the camera, but I darkened it just a little bit because it was really light. Again, go to that video and it goes through all the different settings that the camera has. There's a lot of different settings. The quality, the sharpness, that's another one in there. They have a 10 rating, but it gets pretty grainy, as you can see on the black. It's just a little bit of grainy, so you can kind of change the settings there so it gets less grainy, or however you want this to look. I didn't do any of the zoom. Let me see, this camera is about, let me see here, about 2 feet away, and I had to zoom this a little bit. So I think it would be a good camera to do product reviews and stuff like that, because as you can see in the other video, it kind of has like a bubble effect, but when it's real close up, you don't really notice any bubble effect or rounding of the corners. So I would really recommend this as a like a YouTube camera, or something along those lines, because of all the settings. You've got mirror, you've got all kinds of color settings, quality. There's 2 quality settings. So check out that video for more on the camera. I just wanted this to use my scaler on this MOKOSE HDMI camera right here, and just kind of have a test video. Oh, there, it kind of went out. As you can see on the corner, since this is a raw video, the scaler has a little bit of trouble once in a while, so that might affect your likings to this camera. It's a CCT, meant as a CCT camera, so if you're looking for something more stable, the scaler might be the thing you might want to change, and go to that video to see the brand name. But it also could be the software that I'm using. If it's just a one-shot deal, I think it's fine. But I've got a lot of things going on with using this camera, MOKOSE camera. I've got a whole software thing that handles video, filters, So it could just be bogging this down a little bit. I'd be curious to see what an i5 would do. But if it has trouble from the HDMI to the scaler, it will probably still do. The longer you run it, you will get that thing in the up here, that corner that tells you the dimensions. So the scaler must be going out a little bit. So keep that in mind. If you're just doing like what I'm doing, you can always edit out or redo your video. The HDMI camera was like $100, over $100, but that's not too bad. More reliable ones would be to use standard definition 640 by 480, and I have some of those cameras. And I have a USB camera. I've also have a video on that. It also does 1080p, but the frame rate really sucks. But so I just use like a 800 by 600, and then just put it in the I just kind of blow it up a little bit to about this area, and the quality is just fine. So if you're interested in that camera is more like a MJPEG, and I think 24 frames a second at 800 by 600. So that's not too bad. It's still pretty good quality, and I think I'll put that in the up in the corner too, if you want to compare cameras. But it looks like the scaler is the culprit here. It might be a little bit more unstable. So let me turn the camera or the mic toward me. So the scaler, there it goes again. You can see what it's going at. It's going at 60 frames a second. I can pare that down to 50 frames, and that's still pretty good quality. So maybe scaling it down to 50 frames, that might get rid of because it's handling a lot of data there. So maybe scaling it down to 50 frames a second might do it. So that's some tests I didn't really do on the other ones. Kind of a real world test is kind of nice, so you know what you're getting into. So let me leave it there, and keep coming back for great videos. Oh, and let me know what you think about if there's any other cameras that are, or scalers are better, or you had good success with. Leave them down in the comments section. This is really my first test using the software and the scaler, so it's kind of good to see what's going on. And if you have any experience with a scaler that can handle the 1080p, please put it down in the comments. So let's leave it there and catch you next time.